All right, let's talk about it because I know a lot of Gen Z is looking at the housing market right now and thinking, what's the point? Prices are insane, wages haven't kept up, student loans are a disaster, and interest rates, let's just say they're not doing you any favors. The American dream used to mean homeownership, but for Gen Z, it's starting to feel like more of a cruel joke. And I get it, every generation before you had it easier. The boomers bought houses when they were basically giving them away, and even Gen X got in when things were still reasonable. But today, the game has changed, and the real question isn't how Gen Z can buy a home, it's whether the system even wants them to. And look, I hate to be the one to break it to you, but if you're sitting around waiting for prices to drop, it's probably not going to happen. Rates might come down a little this year, but home values aren't crashing anytime soon. So instead of hoping for a miracle, let's talk about actual possibilities. First, let's put some numbers to it. In 2000, the median home price in the US was 165 grand. Now it's over 400. Meanwhile, wages haven't even doubled in the same time, so when people tell you just save 20% for a down payment, they might as well tell you to fly to the moon. And it's not just home prices. Let's talk about student loans because this is where Gen Z really got screwed. 30 years ago, college was 4 to 5 times cheaper than it is today. A public university in 1990, about $3,800 a year. Today, over 11 grand. Private college, pushing 40. That doesn't even include living expenses or the interest on the loans. Back when Gen X graduated, the average student loan debt was $9,300. Today, over $37,000. So yeah, older generations had student loans too, but they weren't starting their adult lives buried in debt trying to buy a house that cost 10 times their salary. It's not Gen Z isn't working hard, it's just the math isn't adding up anymore. But here's something a lot of people aren't talking about, the idea of a starter home. Because there's another reason Gen Z feels like home ownership is impossible. You're looking at the house your parents have now, 4 bedrooms, updated kitchen, backyard, and maybe even a home office, and you're thinking, I'll never be able to afford that. And honestly, you're probably right. But here's the thing, your parents couldn't afford that either when they were starting out. They didn't go straight from their parents' house into their dream home with every upgrade and amenity. They started small. They bought a condo, a townhouse, or a fixer-upper. They made sacrifices. Then, over time, they built up equity, sold, and moved up. Somewhere along the way, the idea of a starter home got lost. People expect to buy their forever homes right out the gate, and when they realize that's out of reach, they think, oh, I guess I'll rent forever. But home ownership isn't about buying your dream home. It's about getting in the game. So, I get why home ownership feels impossible, but let's talk about the people who are making it work, because there are ways to do it. You just have to play by a different set of rules. First, house hacking. The old buy a house and live in it model is dead. A lot of first-time buyers are buying multi-unit properties and renting out part of it and using that rental income to cover all or most of their mortgage. It's not glamorous, but it gets you in the door. Then there's co-buying. Some Gen Zs are teaming up, whether it's with family, friends, or even business partners, to split the cost. It takes some planning, some contracts, and some trust, but it's a way to actually get into the market instead of sitting on the sidelines. And here's something nobody talks about. First-time homebuyer programs. FHA loans let you put down 3.5%. VA loans require 0. And if you're eligible, there are state and local grants that literally give you free money with the down payment. Problem, nobody advertises these the way they do student loans, so most people don't even know they exist. But let's be honest, even with these options, this isn't a personal finance problem, it's a system problem. Look at Vienna. Their housing model is radically different than ours. They actually build affordable housing, not just for low-income families, but for everyone. Imagine if we had that kind of system in the US, where cities prioritize livable, affordable housing instead of shoving people into overpriced rentals and calling it a day. So let me ask you, what do you think needs to change? Is there a way that Gen Z can actually win in this market, or do they need to completely rethink home ownership? Drop a comment. I want to hear your take.